Hi guys, welcome to Make 2 and the second half of our Sims FreePlay Let's Build tutorial for a hotel design. The reason this is the second half, or part 2 of the tutorial, is that this is a really big building which took a lot of time to do, and we just thought it would be easier to split it up into 2 videos. In part 1, we did the structure of the hotel, making all the rooms and putting the bones of the place together. If you missed that one, there's a link to it in the video description below. In this video, which is part 2, we're going to put in all of the furniture and decorations. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat some stuff I already said in part 1 as quick reminders. This hotel is based on an older design which we did a tour of on the channel a while back. The version of the hotel we're doing for this tutorial is going to be slightly different from that original version, so we'll also put a link in the description box to that video tour as well. If you want to build a version of this hotel in your own towns, definitely feel free to make whatever changes you want and decorate it any way you like. One of our viewers let us know in part 1 of the Let's Build that they did a Latin version of this hotel after we posted the original tour, which sounds really cool and also perfect for a beach hotel like this. So yeah, all of our Let's Build tutorials are just for inspiration and for example, and we totally encourage you to personalize your own versions. The only thing we ask is that if you're posting pictures or videos of your own versions on social media, like Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, just let people know you got the inspiration from our channel, Make 2. Now, in order to build this hotel, first of all, you're going to need a good amount of simoleons and some lifestyle points and social points. We've done several tutorials with our recommended ways for earning all of those things, so again, check the video description below for links. Second of all, you need to complete a few quests in order to unlock certain building features. The main ones are the multi-story renovations quest, the patio quest, the balcony quest, and the basement quest. You'll need to be at level 17 or higher in order to start most of these quests, so if you're not there yet, just keep playing through quests and leveling up and keep earning currency, of course. So what you're seeing now is that I've just finished the hotel bar, which is this square black room on the left here, and that's just a place for people to get some drinks, listen to some live music. You can see the keyboard and the microphone there. And right now I'm doing public bathrooms on the ground floor for anyone who's in the common areas of the hotel to come and use. I'm going to separate the bathroom stalls with these privacy screens, which I believe were unlocked from either the patio or the balcony quests. I think it's one of those two. It's been a while since those were added to the game. Next, I am going to work on this Japanese-inspired spa. Just kind of like the idea of the guests of the hotel having a place to go to chill out, have some treatments like a massage or get their nails done or a facial or something like that. So I've got 4 of these very skinny rooms here with just enough room for an outdoor lounge chair. And this lounge chair is actually meant to be one of those treatment chairs, like I said, you know, a place to get a massage or a facial or something like that. Now, the spa event, which is a limited time event in the game, it periodically comes back. So if you've missed it before, then don't worry, it'll probably be back in the game at some point. But yeah, the spa event does introduce some spa-specific types of furniture to the game, like massage tables and chairs to get manicures and pedicures done. But for those who have not gotten those items in their games unlocked yet, then you can definitely just substitute and pretend like I'm doing here with these outdoor chairs. I think they work great. If you do have the spa furniture in your game, then I think you just need to make sure that there's enough room for the furniture to work. I think especially like the massage table and the chairs, they need a little bit of space around them in order for Sims to maneuver around them. So if you're using those in your game instead of my substitute pretend versions, then you just have to make sure that the rooms are big enough. So besides these private rooms, I've also got seating areas which are going to be screened off a little bit as well. And these are screened off by, these are some of those spa items, by the way, spa partitions, but you can use whatever you want, privacy screens or plants. I think the original version, I might have used plants. So these are just kind of little lounge chairs for people who are coming in to, you know, sit, listen to music, maybe have like a mask on to do skin treatments or something like that. So if you just look at it like this, I think it looks like a really serene kind of room and definitely got that Japanese-inspired vibe compared to the rest of the hotel. So now we are in the elevator well, and I'm just gonna put a couple of seating options here. And you'll see that I'm using these cushions, which I also use in the Japanese spa, by the way. And these are from the Custom Closets event. But again, in the original version, I didn't have those items, and I used different pieces of furniture, which you can totally do in your own game if you don't have these items in your games right now. But I just like the look of them, especially against the tan Scandinavian floor tile that I'm using here. And I'm gonna put a rug down just to give a bit of color to the place, because I am kind of using a very, I don't know, beige gray kind of color palette for the overall hotel, but that's just, you know, it's my particular style for this hotel right now, and you can do whatever you want. So I'm putting down a little plate of apples, and that is sort of inspired by a hotel that I've stayed in previously in my life where I think they were kind of apple themed. I think I've talked about this on the channel before when I did another hotel design, but that hotel that I stayed in, they had like apples as their theme. So they always had free plates of apples out in the common areas, and I remember coming home really late after working really late one night, and like an apple was all I had for dinner, but I was so thankful that they had those free apples out in the hallway. So that is a nod to that. And in this room that I'm decorating here, this is going to be the main reception area. So this is where guests come in to check in and check out. So you can see those check-in desks that I used at the top there. Those are from the hair salon event. But again, you can use whatever you want. I think in the original version, I just used kitchen counters, and I've done that in quite a lot of designs that were for businesses before we got the hair salon event. You can use kitchen counters and they look really great, and put like a small TV on the counter, and that can act like a computer or something. Another set of chairs here for waiting area for people to just chill out. I think that's a nice thing to have in a hotel, just lots of places for guests to sit if they don't want to be cooped up in their rooms, for instance. Now, the room that I'm working on here is going to be for business meetings, so the hotel caters to that kind of clientele as well. It's not just a resort hotel for vacationers, but it's also a place maybe people have conferences here, or they just want to have, you know, a meeting in a scenic location. We actually just went to a work conference for our non-YouTube jobs at a beach hotel. It was really nice to have that at a beach hotel, but it was also kind of weird because we didn't have time to go to the beach, so we just could see it from the hotel, but in the meantime we were stuck inside doing businessy type stuff. Oh well, I mean, we had scenery. Outside the windows anyway. So what I am working on now is the beginning of the hotel's wedding services. So there will be a place for Sims to hold wedding ceremony and wedding reception, and the room that I'm working on in particular right now is the dance floor, which is going to be located off of the wedding reception room. And that's just because, in my view, I really like weddings with dancing. And you can see that this dance room has a DJ booth. That's that table with the white tablecloth on it. And that is from the Wedding Live event, which is another limited time event that introduced a ton of wedding themed items into the game. So I'll be using some stuff from that event here, like this wedding cake, as you can see, but the original version of this hotel that I built did not have any of this wedding event stuff because the wedding event hadn't happened in the game at the time that I made that hotel. So if you don't have the wedding event stuff in your town, no worries. Just check out the original tour that I mentioned before that we've linked to in the video description below, and you can see the stuff that I used to substitute for wedding event type of things. And you can see that I think it's totally possible to have a wedding themed area without this kind of stuff. I'm just using it now because I do have it in this town and I do think it's pretty cute, so why not use it? And another thing that the wedding event introduced to the game is a pre-built template with a wedding ceremony area kind of baked in. It's got a platform where Sims can stand and get married and chairs where guests can sit and watch the ceremony. But as you can see here, I'm not using that pre-built template. I'm using just a premium size ocean view lot. And again, that just goes to show if you don't have the pre-built template in your game, then you can, you know, substitute and pretend and use anything else besides. So as you can see, I'm building my own wedding ceremony area here. I've got these planters and I'm going to put a wedding arch in, and I think it'll work just as well for a wedding ceremony type of thing. compared to that pre-built template. But if you do have the pre-built template in your town, then I think it could be cool to see this hotel built on that template. You could have that dedicated wedding space off to the side, and then you could use this space that I'm using here for really anything you want to. You could build a bigger restaurant or more businessy rooms or even a bigger spa, or just have it be like a lovely garden or something. I think that'd be cool too. So that is the wedding ceremony and reception area basically done, and now I'm just skipping over to the other side of the hotel. It's a very symmetrical hotel for those of you who missed part 1, but over here outside of the bar area, I'm just going to put some tables and chairs for people to sit and have some outdoor dining options. It's kind of meant to be overlooking the ocean. I think I talked about this in part 1, but if you see to the left of the screen, it's a fence and it's grass and all that. But when I originally built the hotel, I put it on the lot that's on the island that's directly across from the public beach that we can build with life orbs. So the idea was basically that the beach would be on the left side so that the pool and all these outdoor spaces like the wedding ceremony area and this dining area would face the ocean. So that's kind of my pretend in my mind. That's kind of why the hotel is oriented the way it is, why it's facing the way it is. Okay, so that is the main floor basically done. I will be coming back to it though because I'm going to be doing some more stuff around the pool area. I've got some particular ideas for how I want the patio to look, so that'll be sort of like a finishing touch later in the video, so definitely stay tuned. I'll be coming back to make some changes to that. But for now, let's move on to the second floor, which is where the guest areas will start. The guest rooms in the hotel will have different sizes and layouts depending on how many guests will be staying in them and who will be staying in them. So you can see in one of the rooms I put 2 beds, which is a typical setup for a room that might be shared by a family or by 2 single people who don't want to share a bed. And then there are rooms with just 1 bed, which could be shared by a couple who do want to share a bed, or maybe a single person. Some of the rooms have balconies and some don't. The ones with balconies would of course be more expensive. They're for Sims who want to splash out some cash so they can sit outside and catch some nice ocean breezes. And you can see that the decorating style is pretty simple. Because this is a hotel, the style is going to be pretty uniform throughout, and that makes it a lot easier to decorate than, for instance, an apartment building where you can imagine many different styles for each apartment. And this is also why we shouldn't run into any problems with the object cap when decorating this hotel, compared to maybe a huge mansion or an apartment building. The object cap is a limitation in the game that prevents having too many different kinds of objects on a lot. By that I mean, the game counts the number of different objects and styles you can have on a single property lot, and it only lets you put a certain amount of them on a lot. This is the cap, or the limit, and if you hit it, the game won't let you add another object to the property. And this is because the developers want to make sure the game runs smoothly on as many devices as possible. If there are too many uniquely styled objects on a lot, the game will get laggy and it won't work as well. So the game counts, for example, a red chair as one kind of object and a blue chair as another kind of object. But if you have 2 red chairs, the game will only count one of them towards the object cap. Same as if you have 2 blue chairs, the game will only count one of those towards the object cap. And for another example, a brown table is one kind of object and a white table is another kind of object. If you have a lot of white tables, again, the game will only count one of them towards the object cap, but if you added a brown table, then you've now got 2 objects counted toward the cap. So if you're working on a really big design and you run across the object cap where the game won't allow you to add another object, you just need to remove some of those unique styles. For example, if you have 10 red chairs and 2 blue chairs on the lot, you can remove all the blue chairs and replace them with more red chairs. Or if you have 5 white tables and 1 brown table, remove the brown table and replace it with a white one. Then the object cap will go away and you can go back to decorating, at least until you hit the object cap again. Now, as you can see with this hotel, most of the objects and styles are being repeated through the different guest rooms, so we shouldn't have any problem with the object cap. And I've gone for black and white furniture to match the structural elements of the hotel, like the windows, which are black and white framed, and the balcony railings, which are black and white, and the doors, which are black framed. I think black and white is just very elegant and very cool, and it's also easy to decorate around because these colors provide a simple background that you can put more colorful stuff on top of. So for instance, with paintings or plants or even lamps, you could choose something in a bolder color and it would really pop in a nice way. Most of the guest rooms will be in this black and white style, but on the 4th floor, we'll have a couple of honeymoon suites, or I guess suites for anyone who's got the money, and we'll go for a slightly different decorating style in those. So I haven't talked about why I decided to do a Let's Build tutorial for this hotel. The main reason is because I'm removing the hotel from my town. The reason I'm doing that is because I need more lots to build on. This is my long-running wish for the game, is that we could just have more lots. And I don't mean apartment lots, I don't mean the tropical island, I mean just ordinary, premium and standard size lots that can go anywhere in the town. 18 by 18, 18 by 36, that's what I want. And yeah, because I've been at this game for years, I've basically filled up my town several times over. We've got like 3 different games that we run on different devices, and they're all getting full. So something had to give, and this hotel is that something. I've even talked in this video about how the game has been adding new pre-built templates, and I'd really like to use some of those, but unfortunately I can't because they can only be built on a new unused lot. Unfortunately, in the game right now, there is no way to change the fence or the landscaping on a design. If you want a particular fence or landscaping, you have to build it on a new, unused lot. And in order to get one of those in my town, I need to delete an old design. So this hotel is the one that I'm deleting. I do still really love the design, and I don't want to lose it. So that's why I'm doing this Let's Build tutorial. It's as much for myself as for you guys. If I ever have another lot free and available, or start a 4th town on a 4th device, then maybe I'll want to try and build this all over again, and I can have the video to teach myself how to do it. Right, so it looks like we are on the 3rd floor right now, and as you can see, the decorating scheme is basically similar to the 2nd floor, but we have a slightly smaller floor plan to play with because of the stepped structure of the different floors. You can see the 3rd floor is slightly smaller than the 2nd floor, which is slightly smaller than the 1st floor. But again, the decorating style is going to be uniform, it's going to match the 2nd floor, black and white, elegant theme, pretty simple. And to be honest, don't get mad at me guys, but to be quite honest, I feel like it's entirely fine to cut out the 3rd floor. I mean, is it really necessary? It's basically very similar to the 2nd floor, only you don't get those rooms with the 2 beds. So I don't know. I think I originally built this as a 5-floor hotel because I wanted to try and build something that would take advantage of all the 5 floors that are available to us in the game, but you can still have a perfectly good-looking stepped structure hotel that's on 4 floors, and that way you don't have to spend the million simoleons for a 5th floor. You cut out the cost of decorating an extra floor, and yeah, I mean, it's entirely up to you guys. Like I said, you can make whatever changes or variations you want. This is just a possibility that I'm floating, that the 3rd floor maybe is not quite necessary because, again, it is just very similar to the 2nd floor. But another possibility is if you wanted to make this stand out from the 2nd floor, you could pick a whole new decorating style to go for the 3rd floor. So instead of all the black and white, you could switch to different color beds and different color chairs and tables, and that way you could say, oh, well, the 2nd floor is themed to be this kind of thing, and then the 3rd floor has this kind of theme. So that makes it more of a boutique style of hotel, even though it's a massive, crazy resort style of hotel. Alrighty, so I'm just basically putting in the lamps and decorations in each of the rooms on the 3rd floor. Because it's a little smaller than the 2nd floor, it goes a little faster, but you get the idea. And now we can move on to the 4th floor, where we can get into decorating those suites I mentioned. Again, these could be either honeymoon suites, which makes sense because the hotel offers wedding service, or they could be for whoever's got the money to spend. Maybe a pop star or an actor is on their vacation at this resort, or, I don't know, a millionaire. I'd like the idea that my suite here would be worth a millionaire's money. So I'm basically decorating this in a kind of cool modern style. We've got this urban bed with the dots on it, and the wallpaper is this dotted Scandinavian type of wallpaper. And because these are suites, they also have a separate room, which I guess I'll decorate in a little bit. But the suite is where the person who's got the room will be able to just lounge and watch TV separately from the sleeping area. So it's got that much more space to move around in. I'm putting down some urban furniture chairs. These are from the urban furniture event. And the little table there next to them is from the hair salon live event. But again, if you don't have these furniture items, feel free to substitute with whatever you want. And then in the sitting area, I'm going for, again, the urban furniture sofas. This is just to have a more unified decorating scheme. You want the rooms to tie together and look like they belong to each other, basically. By the way, these flat screen TVs that I've been using in the rooms, these wall-mounted flat screen TVs, these were unlocked by the French Romance live event, which is another limited time event from the game. If you don't have them in your own town, no worries. The original version of this hotel didn't have them either because the French Romance event hadn't happened yet. So you can obviously use any of the TVs that are available to you in the home store, or you can decide not to have TVs. Maybe you want your guests to get outside and enjoy their ocean vacation. Speaking of, I was talking earlier in the video about the viewer of ours who has built a Latin-inspired version of this hotel. The inspiration for the original version of the hotel was actually some resorts that we saw when we were on vacation in Mexico a few years ago. So we were on the Riviera Maya, which is this stretch of the Yucatan Peninsula between Cancun and Tulum. And just all along that stretch, there are tons of huge, all-inclusive type of resort hotels. We weren't staying in any of those hotels because they were way too expensive for us, but we could see a whole bunch of them as we drove past on our way to our much smaller and cheaper hotel. But it seems like there were quite a number of them that had a sort of stepped structure like this hotel. Like how I was saying earlier about the lower floor being bigger and then each floor getting smaller as you go up. And then it occurred to me that those hotels were probably inspired by Mayan temples. There are a whole bunch of Mayan temples in that area of the Yucatan, and Mayan temples, they are stepped structure as well. So they're like pyramids, but instead of having a smooth angle all the way to the top, they go up in steps. I don't know why it took me so long to put it together that that's where those hotels got their architectural inspiration from, but yeah. Just a bit of background for how this hotel looks the way it does. So it seems like I'm finishing up the rooms on the 4th floor now. Like I said before, this is going to be the last of the guest room floors. Above it is going to be the 5th floor, which is a room with amenities that are only for guests. So the very bottom floor of the hotel, the ground floor, is kind of like common space. Anybody who can come and use those spaces, even if you aren't staying in the hotel itself. Like if you're just a tourist in the area, you could come to the hotel and have a drink at the bar, or if you are getting married, you could just get married and not technically have to make use of the rest of the hotel or have access to the rest of the hotel. But the 5th floor is specifically for guests. So let's say you would need a key card or something in the elevator to be able to even get up to this floor. So this floor is what I'm putting things like this room, which is going to be a computer room, basically just a business center for guests to check their email or do work if they need to. It's a little bit different from the business center that was on the 1st floor, which is just a conference room for meetings. This is actually a place where actual work can get done. And then the other side of the elevator bank will be a gym, so we'll see some of that stuff being put in now. This is bicycle machine that's unlocked by completing the seniors quest in the time limit, I believe. And those get stuck right up against these floor-to-ceiling windows, so while people are slaving away, exercising, they can have a nice, lovely, up-high view of the ocean below. But also, if they don't want to look outside and they need even more distraction, if you're like me, I need all the distraction that I can possibly get while I'm exercising. There are flat screen TVs on the walls and just putting some weights out so people can also work on weightlifting in addition to their cardio. And I'm also putting out a mirror, which makes sense for a fancy gym and a fancy hotel like this. People can check out their beach bods and make sure they're making their gains. And there's a refrigerator. It's going to hold things like bottled water for people to get refreshments. I would like that to be a water cooler instead of a refrigerator, but we don't have a water cooler that's available in the home store. And let's see, other things, just plants to give the rooms a little bit of life and color. Again, you can see I'm sticking to the whole black and white scheme even up here, so a bit of pop of color would be nice. And then after these two rooms, I've got a couple of balcony spaces on either side, and these are just going to be additional outdoor spaces for guests to hang out. These will be a little more exclusive than the downstairs outdoor spaces because, again, this 5th floor is only accessible to guests with key cards. So there are going to be a couple of tables up here with umbrellas to shade people from the hot sun, and they'll just have a lot of seating options around them. So basically, the hotel is coming together pretty well in terms of the guest spaces, and there's going to be one last floor to decorate if you guys remember the first video, and that is the basement level. So we're going to do the basement level after we finish up here. Although I think there will be a bit more balcony stuff that I'm going to do up here. I mentioned before that I'm going to be doing more stuff around the patio and the pool on the main floor, and there's going to be just like a little bit more stuff with the balconies up here. So stay tuned for that. Now, this side of the balcony is going to be a bar area, so people can actually get refreshments here if they like. And I'm just making use of some of this new outdoor seating that we got from the recent Backyard Beautification live event. And I like these. They're very matchy with the whole black and white theme since they've got these white cushions and the black cement back of these. And I think they look really cool. It's nice to have a huge seating area like this. It's kind of got that party feel. You can imagine, I guess, one of those high-paying guests coming up here and reserving this space for their own private party or something. Now on one side we've got a grill as well and one of those big outdoor cement tables. I think that looks really nice. And just leaving a lot of space for people to be able to mingle or line up for the food or the drinks, dance, I don't know, anything that you like for a private party. So that is basically the main floors of the hotel done. And now we're going to move into the basement, like I said. And the basement is basically going to be for the staff of the hotel. A hotel that is this big needs a whole bunch of staff to help run it. You're going to need, like here, a really big boiler room to keep all of those rooms heated with hot water flowing and all of that. You're going to need a really big laundry room to take care of all the sheets and towels for the guests. So all of this stuff, the laundry room stuff, is from the laundry live event, which unlocked washers, dryers, and other types of things. So I'm basically putting out a whole bunch of washers and dryers, and then I'll also be putting out some shelving units, which we got from the hair salon live event, because those look like they contain a whole bunch of like spare towels, spare products. I think it makes sense for the laundry room to be where those types of things get stored. The clean towels and the extra toiletries and all that kind of thing that has to be restocked in all the rooms when they get cleaned every day. And next to the laundry room, we're going to have the first of 2 offices. These are going to be for management. I think it makes sense for a hotel this big to have a couple of managers for the staff and for the guests. But if you want to just have one office for a manager, that's fine. Basement rooms are expensive, so that means that'd be a little bit of a cost-saving measure. Right here is a bathroom. This is for anybody who is in the basement area to use. And then now we are in the kitchen. The kitchen is going to be pretty big because, again, it's a big hotel. They've got a lot of people to serve, not just in the bar and restaurant areas, but also room service. Room service at a fancy hotel like this, I'm sure, is very nice. So we're gonna have a double set of double sinks. That means 2 pairs of sinks. Again, this is a little bit indulgent. You definitely do not have to have something as big as this to have a serviceable kitchen for a hotel. And it looks like I'm using the double ovens. Those are from the Snow Chalet, but you can use whatever you want. You can use a single oven, should be fine. And the countertops that I'm using are these stainless steel ones. I think these have been in the game for a long time. They didn't come from any special event or anything like that, but are probably just unlocked at a certain level. There's another set of countertops which are metal and light gray. Those were unlocked by the Wedding Bells event, and they're very industrial looking, so they probably would work really well for a business kitchen like this. But I'm just using the black ones here because they're in the game, like I said, and they didn't require being unlocked by any special event. And also they match the black and white tile of the kitchen floor, so, you know, makes sense to me. I'm adding another set of ovens here because as far as I remember, the double ovens from the Snow Chalet are actually not functional as cooking items. Like, you can't actually use them to cook, they're only for decoration. Hopefully they will fix that in a future update to the game, but yeah, if you want the kitchen to be properly functional, then you need to have ordinary ovens. But I've also added one of these industrial grills from the Wedding Bells event. I guess I couldn't help myself. And again, that is just to give the impression that this is a big kitchen that can properly service many rooms full of probably really finicky, big spender type of guests. So I'm just adding more little appliances around, and now I'm moving on to the employee break room. It's really important for the staff of the hotel to have a place to change into their uniforms and a place to relax between shifts. I think in the original tour of the original hotel video, we mentioned watching Jane the Virgin, which is a show where one of the characters or some of the characters work at a hotel. I can't say that we still watch this show. Something happened, I won't spoil it, but something happened that made us kind of upset, so we stopped watching it. But that is the danger of watching a telenovela type of show. But anyway, that is the inspiration for having this kind of area for the staff in the hotel. I think it's important to remember this is a business, and if you've got the money to spend in the basement, then why not make sure that the employees are taken care of? So their break room has got a couple of old-ish but comfy couches, and they've got a table to sit at to have meals and a bookcase for light reading if they want. And over here in this room, I'm going to be putting some closets. This is going to be like lockers for those uniforms to be stored at, or their normal clothes to be stored at while they're wearing their uniforms. So these closets, I believe, are the laundry closets. They came with the laundry live event along with those washers and dryers. So I'm just putting them in little rows like this to simulate the look of lockers. And now just adding a bit of stuff to the laundry room to make it clear that it is a laundry room, as if the washer and dryers were not enough. And adding, forgot that doorway there to make that hallway connect to the elevator area. And that is basically the basement done. And I think that might also just be the hotel interior all done. So the next things I'm going to add are those patio pavings and the balcony. It's nothing too fancy or complicated, but I just wanted to make sure that I can do it in a way that is easy to follow. I like for you guys to be able to follow the Let's Build. So the pool paving I'm going to change to something that was unlocked during the backyard beautification event, and I'm going to widen it as well so that it basically takes up the whole bottom part. And I'm going to add some seating from the backyard beautification event. Again, those white cushioned cedars that match the ones that I put up on the roof. Again, if you don't have this stuff in your game, don't worry about it. I didn't have it for the original version. Just use whatever you've got. But I like that we are able to have a sort of contrasting looking pool area compared to the patio paving that I use for the wedding venue and for the outdoor bar area there. So just around the pool area, I'm putting things like towels for guests to sunbathe on, and lounge chairs, of course, white lounge chairs to match the overall decor. But it's looking pretty good. It looks like a proper resort hotel now because it has a pool. I think I like the idea of the pool maybe being like an infinity style pool, you know, the kind with the edge that just kind of has a little waterfall over it so that you don't technically have an edge to the pool, but just to make it more functional, I'm making it a normal pool with the other side being just as usable for stuff and for lounging. Now we're on the 5th floor, and I've made a balcony in the middle here without touching the balconies on either side. This is a trick we've shown on the channel a few times, but it's basically a way to have multiple patterns on a single balcony. You want to first set the patterns on balconies that are not touching each other, and then you can draw them to touch each other, and they'll maintain their different patterns. And we do this because anytime you make a change to the pattern of a patio or a balcony, it'll make that same change across any patio or balcony that it's touching. So if you want to have different patterns on the same patio or balcony, then you need to first draw separate ones that don't touch, set the patterns, and then draw them so that they can touch. It takes a little practice to get the hang of it, but it's a really good trick. So now that I have built that balcony, I can add a door and some windows to match the ones that are on the lower floors. And I'm just adding some seating here in the elevator well because, like I said before, it's nice to have lots of seating options around the hotel for guests to just take it easy. And it gives the hotel a kind of cozier feel, so it's not just empty rooms, but places that are inviting and welcoming to the guests. So that is basically the hotel done. It has been a long time making these videos. They are in 2 parts, as you guys know, but it took a long time to produce them. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the process of watching them. If you stayed all the way through, then we really appreciate it. And if you are choosing to build this hotel in your own towns, then good luck. I think it'll be a lovely addition to any town. Nice place for your Sims to relax and enjoy some vacation time from all of their hard work. So please let us know in the comments what you think and maybe what you do in your own towns to give your Sims a little bit of fun and relaxation. If you are new to our channel, feel free to subscribe because we've got plenty more Sims FreePlay on the way. Thanks for watching!